But I really appreciate my wife. She's introduced me to a lot of new things. Like, because of her, I have a dog, which is something I never thought I was going to do in life. You know, she convinced me to get the dog. We were talking about it for a while. We have a bit of a miscommunication problem about it. She kept on saying, oh, let's get a dog. It'll bring so much joy into our lives. And what I heard was, let's make every vacation $1,000 more expensive. It turns out we were both right. We had very different pet experiences as kids. I grew up only with fish as pets. She grew up always having 2 dogs. That's opposite ends of the pet spectrum. Dogs and fish. Like, you're a kid with a dog, you learn about responsibility. You learn about relationships. When you're a kid with a fish, all you learn about is how delicate life is to pH balance. Like, a fish is a pet that's always in the ICU. Always. You can't take a fish to the vet. The vet's like, the best I can do is a nice ceviche. Our dog is actually a very special dog. He is an emotional support dog. He is a dog, and he requires a lot of emotional support. I want to get an emotional support animal vest for me, so people know what I do for him. He's actually a rescue, which is a lie I tell people when he behaves badly in public. Right? That's a life hack you can do if you have a dog that you want to feel shame over. Just say those words, and no one knows that you didn't train them properly, right? I don't think there's actually that many rescues out there. I think there's a lot of people trying to cover up. But he's a very cute dog. He's a mini Bernedoodle, so he looks like an alive Muppet. So you know why I chose him. And so when he was younger, he was even cuter, and I get stopped all the time, and people would be like, oh my God, your dog is so cute. Is he a rescue? Then I'd be like, this designer poodle? I don't think you know how the world works. Let me ask you this. Have you ever found a Dyson at the thrift store? Is the only way a dog this fluffy becomes a rescue? Foreclosure. That's your only chance. I don't know if anyone here is considering getting a dog. If you are, ask yourself these questions. Do you have many open wounds that go unlicked? Do you find putting on or taking off socks to be too uneventful? You ever heard your doorbell and thought, yeah, that could be more annoying? I recommend dogs. Some dogs can be very difficult. You don't know what you're going to get. My friend who has a dog that's so difficult, he tells me his age backwards. I'd be like, how old's your dog now? He's like, I think I have 7 years left. 6 if I cancel insurance, I think. We got our dog as a puppy, which is a baby dog. And what happens when you get a puppy is you're very excited, everyone's excited for you, and then 2 weeks later, you have a nervous breakdown. Because every day, your puppy gets stronger, and you get weaker, until it breaks you. Because there's so much property destruction. You think you're getting a cute little miniature dog, but really, they have a cute dog body, shark teeth, Hannibal Lecter mind. Everything must be chewed. And there's 2 ways you can deal with it. Either you can get angry and stressed out all the time, or you can embrace a Buddhist philosophy. I realized this because I came home, and for the second time in a row, he had chewed through a brand new pair of Birkenstock sandals. And I was like, either he has now cost me $300 plus tax, or he's teaching me an important lesson about the pointlessness of material value. Namaste. I now understand that, like the sandals, I too am temporary. I get targeted things on my algorithms about dogs now, and I keep on getting this video that says when you walk your dog, you gotta let them smell. You gotta let them smell for as long as they want, because this is their social media. Okay? And I don't think that's accurate. I've never taken my dog on a long walk and then he comes home anxious and depressed. Like he sniffs around and he feels like all his dog friends are more successful than him. I don't get that impression. He's never had a long sniffing session and then wanted to overthrow the government, Like, let's get in a truck. I love my dog a lot. He's like my best friend. He's like the kind of best friend with whom I have a complicated relationship. Because I feel like he owes me a lot of money. And he keeps on trying to make out with my wife. Like in front of me. Like when I'm at home, I constantly feel like with the two of them, I'm just the odd one out in a three-way. Like they'll be all over each other on the couch and I'm just there with a hand in. Like me too, right? I'm also a part of this. I've never been part of a threesome before, but I think that's what happens. Like two people go at it really hard and one kind of gives energy. Right? Really hot, you guys. Does anyone need a snack? Because I have a free hand. Yeah, I just feel like, in our family, I worry that my wife loves my dog more than me. Right? Just because my wife's a pretty big knitter, and just based on the number of custom sweaters she has made for each of us, it's not looking good. 4 for him, 0 for me. So, but also she kind of told me this, not in those words, she said it in a different way, because we live in Vancouver, very beautiful place, beautiful woods you can walk your dog in, one catch, lots of large killer animals. And we have a small 30-pound dog. So I was going to take him on a hike, and my wife goes, hey, just so you know, if you run into a mountain lion, you have to protect him. Then I said, just so you know, I also cannot fight a mountain lion. I'm giving you the wrong impression with all these spider victories. Okay, this is different. And she was like, protect him at all costs. I'm the cost. How do you not see that? Just financially it doesn't make sense. This is half the mortgage. You can't go to the bank with the sticks he brings back. I've learned a lot about myself from having a dog. I've learned that I'm definitely a cat person, for sure. And that's saying a lot for me, because I'm very allergic to cats. But I didn't realize how much less work cats are versus dogs. It's so much less work. Having a dog is like having a toddler with a hammer. They love you, but they can do damage very quickly. Having a cat is like having a dad who travels a lot for work. They're often not around. And when they come back, they bring you weird gifts you don't like. And for all you know, they might have another family. I guess my point is that human beings, we have a lot of illogical beliefs. Like, why is it that we think that one kind of animal is good, but then a very similar kind of animal is bad? Like, why do we all love doves, but hate pigeons? I think it's a white privilege thing, right? Because doves are just white pigeons. That's like the only difference between them. Doves are pigeons that couldn't make it in the streets. They are gentrified pigeons. I guarantee you, every person here tonight considers the pigeon to be a totally filthy, disgusting animal. At the same time, Dove is the world's leading mascot for soap. Can you imagine a soap called Pigeon? Try launching that brand. I dare you. If you get swarmed by a flock of pigeons, you're going to be like, oh my God, I need every vaccine possible. Rush me to the emergency room. Or you're going to go home and shower and use all the Dove you have. If you get swarmed by a flock of doves, you're going to be like, oh my God, is somebody about to propose? Magic is in the air. Right? Because doves are a symbol, whereas a pigeon is an omen. If you get a piece of paper and there's a dove on it, you're going to be like, I've probably been invited to a wedding, or my enemies are making peace with me. If you get a piece of paper in the mail and there's a pigeon on it, oh no. We're getting evicted. That's what that means. I like I'm a big fan of dairy. I like dairy a lot. I like consuming it. I think we should always have it. Some people really don't like dairy. And a lot of people in this city even, maybe in this room, they could be here. They all look the same as us. Some people who don't like dairy, they'll say, like, you know that human beings, we're the only animal that drinks the milk of another animal. And they say it like that's a bad thing. Have you seen how we're doing compared to other animals? We're dominating. We're on a 4,000-year streak. I think milk could be the reason. Either we need to drink more milk, or we need to make sure tigers never get any. Both of those. Great ways forward. Did you know that there's fewer than 4,000 tigers left in the world? Yeah, it's very concerning. At the same time, if there were 4,000 tigers in this neighborhood, very concerning. There is such thing as too many tigers. We should all be very afraid of tigers. If I can leave you with any message tonight, is be scared of them. It's weird. A lot of people, when you ask, what animal do you fear most? They'll say spiders. I don't understand that at all. Because I'm not afraid of any animal I can defeat with a cup. Try defending yourself against a large cat with dishware. For anyone who's confused, before tigers were famous for selling frosted flakes, and gasoline, they were mainly known as being a ferocious predator of people. Like, when tigers have the chance, they will hunt and eat everyone you know and love. Which makes me feel very bad for tigers in the zoo. Like, imagine if you had to spend the rest of your life in jail being visited by sandwiches. Even if you were trained and fed by a sandwich, you're still going to be like, I want a bite. That's the decisive thing, I think, in the debate between dogs and cats, is that you can make a dog the size of a wolf and not compromise safety. If you make a cat the size of a lion, it is a lion. Congratulations. I think every house cat kind of looks at their owner and is like, this is good for now, but I may grow. When I was growing up, one of my favorite books as a child was Clifford the Big Red Dog. And you can't have Clifford the Big Red Cat because there's no other characters left at the end of that book. Just a very tired cat. I will say, though, I prefer aquariums to zoos. And we have a great aquarium in this city, which for some reason we built right next to the ocean. It's like a few hundred feet away from the ocean. That's so cruel. It's so close. Like, there are probably octopuses that are commuting. Like, the aquarium should be so close to the ocean that the fish are rooting for a tsunami. Like, all we need is a slip and slide, and we're out of here. We're home. I think my least favorite animal of all is the moth. I do not like moths. They are a very bad insect. Because moths are lazy. Because moths are obsessed with light, but they're only around during nighttime. Wake up earlier. If a moth ever saw daylight, it'd be like, oh my God, everything I want is everywhere. I'm setting an alarm. But I do feel kind of bad for moths because they're always compared to butterflies. And butterflies are the celebrities of the insect world. Butterflies are the one insect you can fill a room with and then charge admission. Find me another bug that raises property value. And then they both start off the same. Both moths and butterflies, they start off as caterpillars, and they go into cocoons, and they come out, and all the moths are like, oh no, I'm a moth.
I could have been that, but I'm this. And I get that so much. Because I'm in my 30s, and it feels a lot like when you're in your 30s and you go on like LinkedIn and you're like, how successful are people I grew up with? Then you're like, oh no, I've been a moth the whole time.
I've always liked animals, I've retained a lot of the animal facts I knew as a youth into adulthood. And there's one animal fact that most people get wrong, I've noticed, but for a very justifiable reason. And it is, what is the fastest animal on planet Earth? And I already know most of you are thinking cheetah. And that's a great guess. But technically, according to the authorities, the correct answer is the peregrine falcon. Because when they dive on their prey, they go 200 miles per hour. And I've been reflecting on this. And I've decided this is a total BS animal fact. And we got to overturn this and put the cheetah in its rightful place. Just think about it. The only reason why the falcon is considered the fastest is because it's flying in the sky and then it falls really quickly. That's just gravity. Right? Like if I throw a sloth out of a helicopter, I get it going pretty quick. That's like someone trying to sell you a car and being like, this baby does 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds if you drive it off a cliff. I don't know if this is an official animal fact, but I would wager of all the land animals, the hardest to drown is the giraffe. Right? Like giraffes must feel no need to learn how to swim at all. They're like, how deep is it? I'm a horse mixed with a periscope. I'm not concerned with your oceans. We don't talk about this nearly enough as a society, the undrownability of giraffes, I think. People need to be aware. Sometimes you'll see like a really strong, muscly guy, and people will be like, well, he's so strong, he could wrestle a lion with his bare hands. And I'm like, but could he drown a giraffe? I don't think so. Need machinery for that. I like how some animals have just fully adapted to being like city animals. Like that's the only way we think of them. Right? I have a friend from Europe, and he told me that in their zoos in Europe, they'll have our raccoons in their zoos. What are those habitats like? I hope it's the side of a house with a bunch of garbage bins, right? It's animal cruelty to keep raccoons away from recycling. They need it for their biology. Like if you're driving in the wilderness, you saw a raccoon by the side of the road, you'd pull over and be like, are you okay? Do you need a ride back to town?
Do you think that camels ever get sensitive about their feet? The camel is a weird animal to me because it has all my favorite parts of a naked woman, but in all the wrong places, right? It's like a real Picasso of the female body.